Hello and welcome to another episode of Northside Now. This is the podcast where we take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. I'm Patrick, and with me as always is my co-host, Glenn Miller.
What's up?
What's poppin'?
Oh, nothing. Just sitting here, loving a beautiful weather day.
Oh, yeah. It's great outside. I've been wearing shorts for like the last 3 days.
Me too, and it's good.
I'm very happy. I live for short weather.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you don't want the snow on the ground and all that.
Yeah.
So. But, hey, the groundhog is going to give us an early spring, and with that comes another thing we got to think about.
How much do we actually trust the groundhog?
I don't know.
Maybe this is just my distrust for all authority figures or people telling me what's going to happen.
Or buck-toothed.
Or buck-toothed, whatever.
Varmints.
Yeah. Marmoset? No, that's
I
not.
was going to say marsupial. No, I don't know what a groundhog is.
It's a mammal.
Yeah. They're just weird. But I mean, with the ground warming up, have you heard about this?
What's that?
So supposedly this spring, whenever the ground warms up to around 60 degrees,
Okay.
we have an event that's going to take place. And they say it hasn't taken place in like 221 years or so.
Okay.
At this magnitude. In fact, Thomas Jefferson was around the last time this happened.
Oh, wow.
So, but I remember one where there was a bunch not long ago. But this year, once the ground warms up, probably around May, unless we get a little early, we expect 2 cicada broods to emerge from the ground.
Ooh.
The 17-year brood and the 13-year brood.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. So this is like the 17-year brood, which is 13, Roman numeral 13. And the other one is brood 19. So yeah, they're going to come out. Those cicadas are those things that leave their little shells.
And they're going to be loud.
They're going to be loud.
Yeah. Well, take that, all you people that said there were fewer bugs now than in the 80s.
You fewer bug people.
Yeah.
You're about to learn a new lesson.
Yeah.
About the cicada. I do remember one of the ichthuses we went to, there was a big cicada hatch that year.
Yeah.
And I was letting them like crawl on my face and stuff. The cool thing about a cicada is that can't bite you.
Oh, yeah.
They are creepy looking, little alien looking.
I used to collect and play with the little shells when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The carcasses. Of
And supposedly the carcasses are good for the roots of the trees and stuff like that. But yeah, that's so. Yeah, we're talking about the bugs the last episode, and so I saw that, and they're making a big deal about it. They're trying to warn everybody, get ready. Here come the cicadas. They're a coming.
They're a coming.
They're going to be emerging soon. So, speaking of things coming, and I guess it's already here, but we've talked a lot about over the last several years about the Chosen TV series about Jesus and the disciples and stuff. And they started off crowdsourcing everything, right? So there's a crowdsource deal and that's people pay in, they give gifts, donations, and man, they've raised some crazy money and broke all kinds of records and all kinds of stuff. But they've done some on-screen, small screen, like on your TV. They have an app. They release their stuff now through the app.
You can actually watch season 1 on our Northside app.
Yeah, that's true. So that's the Chosen, but they're doing something different now, where they are releasing in segments. So I think the new season 4, is coming out. It's out now, seasons 1 through 3 at the theater. And then, episodes 1 through 3 at the theater. And then like 4, 5, and 6 are coming, and then like 7 and 8 or something like that. But they're 2 weeks spread out. So every 2 weeks, there's a new episode. There's a new set of episodes coming out. But it's at the theater. They're not putting it on their app or on TV or anything like that.
Interesting.
Yet. I'm sure they will later.
So it's just like that's interesting.
So they're crowdsourced. This is crowdsourced paid. Now you have to pay to go see it.
Interesting.
Which there are some people just kind of mumbling about that.
Yeah.
Because the series is very beloved. Everybody's really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's really pretty cool. But there is a little bit of a mumbling now. So it makes you wonder, was Dallas Jenkins and all those who do that, were they pushed from the theater people? Because they've done some theater things in the past, but they were special deals. So were they pushed by the theater people because you're so popular and you're doing so well, come to the theater and help us?
Yeah.
And we'll help you by somehow. I don't know. Maybe they had some fees or something. I don't know. That's just
some
supposed
speculation.
Or are they just trying to double dip?
Well, I think there's also something about reaching a wider audience.
Yeah.
Because there's probably some people that are going to go to the theater and they may not be going to see that, but they'll see a poster or they'll see, that this is, if they look up show times, they'll see that is showing as well. And people that may never hear about the show otherwise that aren't in the same circles as, the crowdsourcing deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. They may just be trying to reach a different set of people, or
maybe.
I don't know. It's probably a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they made some relationships with, all the theater people and the distribution groups and all this that have helped get some of their other things into theaters. And so, I don't know. It's probably a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah. I just find it interesting because, back when TV and stuff was younger in the 70s and 80s and stuff, especially I feel like this really happened a lot in the 80s. I don't remember the 70s talking about mini-series coming along.
Yeah.
And they're kind of releasing this like a mini-series, but yet at the theaters because mini-series were on TV. Mm-hmm. So I guess they were like movies that they wanted to break up and just use it on the small screen instead of the big screen. They maybe weren't quite ready for TV or weren't.
It's kind of that between the TV and movie space. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and now those spaces are all crazy with handheld devices and.
Yeah. It's.
It's
a different world now.
Yeah, completely. So I don't know. Are we going to be doing? Is there other groups that are about to start doing this? I mean, instead of displaying your stuff on Netflix now, are you gonna?
You're gonna have a few weeks premiere in the movie theater first before it hits the streaming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting. Well, because honestly, I love going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
So I could see how this would help. Keep the movie theater in business.
Sure. Well, and I mean, people are starting to go back to movies for sure. I mean, I think, Top Gun, Maverick, Barbie, few other movies that have been out since COVID that have really helped bring some people back.
Yeah.
Some movies didn't do as well as they thought they would. Like the new Avatar, it didn't quite do what they thought it would on the big screen. Yeah. But Top Gun Maverick for sure did. I think Barbie did. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. There's
probably Oppenheimer was one.
Oppenheimer was a good one. Yeah, there was some of those that brought some people back, and I wonder if they're just in that same mode.
Probably.
I think it's all of the above too, kind of like you. But yeah, it's interesting. I think that they're, it's just a different. They've all of a sudden they swapped and done things differently.
Yeah.
So if you're a big chosen person and you go to the movies and see it right now, but. I haven't been to see this. I just kind of learned what they were doing not long ago.
Did you go see the one about Abraham and Isaac?
I did see it. Honestly,
was that good? We had talked about going, but I didn't get there to see it, so I haven't watched it yet.
I did. Honestly, there was some good parts to it, but I just feel like they took a little too much.
Few too many liberties with it.
Yeah, a few too many liberties. And honestly, another thing, I kind of got bored in it a little bit. I think they just got kind of stuck down on some side story stuff.
Gotcha.
That and most of it revolved around the journey.
Gotcha.
From the home to the mount. So I don't know. It was okay. It sure wasn't as good as some of the other things that I thought. Maybe some people think it was great, but I just didn't think it was. I thought it could be done better. Yeah. And maybe I was just too excited for it because I really was excited for it because I love that story and I love the people that were doing it because they've done so well on some of those other biblical things.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. It just didn't hit me good. So, but yeah, there's a couple of things about it. I just was like, nah. It reminded me a little bit, not as bad, nowhere near as bad, but it reminded me a little bit of that one where the Noah movie.
Oh, right,
where, Russell Crowe was Noah.
And Anthony Hopkins was Methuselah, and he's like a wizard that lived up in the hills.
Even though they didn't have those big names, it had some of that weird stuff, like those rock people from... So even though it didn't have those things, it was still some just... I don't know, it just didn't catch right. It's like, you could have done this better.
Yeah.
Bible stories are hard to do, but yet I think they're kind of simple in a way too.
Yeah, I think people try to make them more complicated than they need to be when they're adapting them to. Because I think a lot of people feel like they need to add more quote unquote blockbustery type things to it, or just. But honestly, I feel like the stories kind of can stand alone.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
It's like they've captivated people for thousands of years.
Yeah, there is supposed to be a cartoon story on David that I think Angel Studios is a part of. And it's going to be not just a movie; it's going to be like a series.
Yeah, I saw like a trailer for this or something.
Really cool.
Yeah,
the cartoons part looks great, and the storyline. I see they've got a pretty long trailer or kind of a teaser, like almost like a pilot episode.
Yeah, I think I watched that.
It is cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I would like to see more of this, and I think they really on the pilot part, David comes across as a kid when he's getting ready to go out and meet Goliath. I mean, so sometimes I think people take him too seriously at that stage. This is a 12-year-old kid. So so it was. It's just people read that and they just I don't know. But this cartoon kind of does give him like he's playing around with the sheep, playing games with them and stuff, and he's pretending with a stick against a box or a tree or something, so he's out there like play fighting while he's watching the sheep just on his own, and it's so that's kind of funny and cool, but you do need to remember that he was a kid when all that went on. So I don't know, we'll see if that turns out, and they were trying to crowdsource that and stuff too, so we'll see. I don't know. Well, we have promised today to be special.
We have,
and we got all the pastors in the podcast room.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. And so we, the roles of pastor have changed here over the years from what we're so used to if you're a long-time Northsider, or if you've just been a long-term at any other church and you're used to a lead or senior pastor only, and then just, them having some pastoral helpers and that kind of stuff. But so we've invited them to come and tell us kind of what our new structure looks like among our pastors, and how that's chopped up between the three of them, and how that's working, and we end up getting a few other goodies in there. So I reckon we're so excited we better just let them on in here. All right, y'all, we have pulled off a miracle here. We have all three pastors in the same room at the same time. So actually, we had some interesting adventures trying to get this scheduled with y'all because of the snow and all that fun. But welcome to the new and improved podcast room.
Glad to be here.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Moved around because of the renovation. And how's the renovation going? I know we talked with Karen and Annette last week, but I think it's going really, really cool. I mean, it's going in a hurry here.
It's underway. Obviously, the pews have now been moved into the narthex and upstairs. All of the pews have been removed. The carpet has been hauled off at cost to us, obviously. But they are now prepping for the wiring. So you'll see two scissor lifts in the sanctuary beeping, creating all kind of noise. You'll also see the Terminator scrubber, which is taking up the glue. And so a lot of activities, a lot of getting down to bare basics where we can see the concrete again and all those things. But it's underway. We're maybe a day or so ahead of schedule. It didn't take as long to take pews out as we thought it would and drill down and take some of the bolts out. So that has gone better than expected.
Yeah, that scrubber thing, that
Terminator.
That thing is cool.
Wow, what a name.
There's a big old blade on that thing. It's cool.
I want to take a ride on it really bad.
That might be dangerous.
They take the key with them when they leave, Patrick.
They take the key with them. That's true. Well, the main reason we wanted to get y'all in here is to talk about our pastoral leadership team and our roles-based pastorship, I guess is the best way to put that we have now, because that's very different for Northside. We've had senior pastor or a lead pastor, but now we have three pastors. We've always had three pastors, but you're sharing different roles, and there's a whole leadership team that y'all run, and that's what we want to try to explain today. And y'all can do that best. So let's start with Daphne, and tell us a little bit about what this pastoral leadership team is, what the roles-based pastors, what that looks like, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. This is something, if you do a lot of research, which most people probably wouldn't, but if you were to do a lot of research about how a lot of churches are structuring now, this follows suit. And this is not something that we pastors decided on our own. I mean, this is something that has been in conversation for many, many, many months with our Board of Lay Elders and our personnel team and other administrative teams about what is best for Northside, what makes the best sense for our structure here at Northside. And so this is where all of those who have been involved in those many, many conversations have landed. That for us in this season, that it makes the most sense for we pastors to share in the responsibility of along with our lay leaders leading this church, and that we really didn't need a lead pastor. All three of your current pastors are equal. We are peers. There is not one that is over the others or the absolute person that is over the church like we have experienced in the past. We are equal and we have different roles. That's why it's called a roles-based pastoral leadership team. We work together on several areas, but then we all have our own unique job description, responsible for different things in the life of the church. There is one of us that is designated as what they call the chair of the pastoral leadership team. And so that chair will change throughout the seasons. Our Board of Lay Elders designates that chair. And so the chair has some specific roles, but it does not mean that chair is over any of the other pastors.
Yeah.
This is new for us as well. And so, it's taken a little bit for us to get used to it as well.
Yeah.
But feel like it's working incredibly well.
Yeah. Well, let's go around the room because you're talking about you have different emphasis and stuff. So let's start with Gerry. Gerry, what are your particular set of emphasis that you're...
Well, my primary area of focus is operations, which includes the facility, building, custodial services, oversight of the business manager, as well as senior ministries, the Joy Group. And so that's the primary area that I focus on, as well as immediate visits to the hospital to check on people in the congregation, and then coordinating the activities of the homebound visitation team that goes out to see people who can no longer come to church, but who are still a vital part, an active part of the church.
Yeah, they sure are. All right, Brian, what about you? I feel like we've learned a little bit more about yours because you're the new kid on the block a little bit to say. But
well, before I speak to what I specifically do, having served in a lead pastor role for 4 decades, I was always uncomfortable with what I felt like was more of a corporate model. This feels more New Testament, that you have more of a collegiality. We're all in this together. It's a partnership. We're interdependent on one another. That seems more healthy to me than having this sort of top-down approach. So I find it very refreshing.
Yes.
But for what my responsibility is to preach on Sunday morning. I teach a Bible study on Wednesday night and work with the worship team in the planning of worship services each week.
All right.
So, That's what I do.
All right. And Daphne, what about you?
Well, my title is Pastor of Administration and Ministries. So that encompasses the majority of the staff report to me, all the administrative functions, working very closely with all the H level staff, helping to guide them, overseeing the staff meetings, also the discipleship, spiritual formation ministries, ministry involvement, helping people, whether they are new to the church or have been here for 20 years, getting involved in the life of the church. Therefore, the green sheets are part of that. Overseeing the nominations team. You, Glenn, have moved into you are now the director of outreach and recreation. So, but then I work closely with you.
Yep.
So, you are responsible for outreach for the most part. I still oversee the Gamasara partnership that we have had for about 10 years. So, they're helping also with pastoral care. While Gerry is the primary point person there, we all share in that.
Sure, yeah.
So there are a lot of things that do overlap, and so the three of us are in constant communication with each other so that we don't, we're not two of us doing the same thing, so it takes a lot of communication, which, there's a constant text thread a lot of times going on.
Yeah.
But, just incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question so how often do y'all get together and communicate? I know there's text threads going all the time with staff, and I'm sure between y'all, but do y'all meet weekly or how do y'all communicate to kind of keep that going?
Yeah, I think most of it's been just as needed, and then occasionally we'll have a sense of we really need to sit in the same room and work through some things.
Exactly. But, the last thing we need is to meet when we don't need to meet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, we do end up in each other's offices quite often, during the course of the week. But it's when we need to be having conversations.
Yeah. I think we all do that. So we all have to. It takes a lot. People just really don't understand what all takes place. I still get people ask you questions. You've done this forever. You've explained everything. Well, what do you do during the week? You're only here on
we work one day a week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people still, and they're not joking. They're really like, what goes on during their week? And I was like, come watch. Let's come on. If you ever have one of those like come follow someone around work thing, that'd be a fun thing to do, to follow one of y'all around.
The board of lay elders. All three of us, are very involved with that administrative board, and they are really who is over us, the three of us.
Yes.
They have the responsibility to hold accountable the pastoral leadership team. So all three of us work very closely with them. As part of the chair of the pastoral leadership team, now that chair is the co-chair of the Board of Lay Elders, along with the lay person who is elected by the Board of Lay Elders to serve as the chair.
Okay.
But even that has a more of a collegiality to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, you need to justify your job this month.
Oh, yeah.
None of that kind of stuff.
Oh, no, it's not like that. It is very much a working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when, because we all know about, looking for a new pastor and things like that. And we spent a lot of time in this church recently in the last several months doing that. And one of the things we learned, or at least what I heard, and I felt like that was communicated pretty well, is that one of the main reasons, not only that it just worked great for Northside, is that we learned that there's a lot of burnout, a lot of things like that going on amongst the pastoral community. Would one of y'all like to speak to that, of kind of what we've learned about that? I mean, because y'all know it intimately.
Yeah, there was, especially during COVID, not only in the church world, but in the world at large, they called it the Great Resignation. Lots of people retiring early. I know several ministers that decided to do that, as I had done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's church life has gotten more complicated. stress levels can be quite intense. Expectations can be unreasonable, which is why Northside needs to be very grateful that we have a more healthy environment to work in, so that I think that mitigates a lot of that here. This is a pretty amazing place in that respect.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is.
Yeah, I would agree. And, in the 19 years that I have been here, I have seen tremendous growth in the way that we are now structured, and with the Board of Lay Elders, especially our personnel team, also. Both of those administrative teams have done an absolutely incredible job of coming to realize that, and to make sure that we put in place some very intentional policies and procedures to try to keep that from happening. And so we 3 pastors are asked often now, are you taking your vacation time? Are you taking care of yourself? They have recently implemented a new mandatory sabbatical policy for the full-time pastors. Once every 4 years, that the pastors are required. Not that they can, but they are required to take a month-long sabbatical for that very reason. And so that is so rare.
Yeah.
And it is so very much appreciated that our personnel team and our Board of Lay Elders are trying hard to hold us accountable in that regard. And not just the pastors, but also our entire staff. They've also implemented a sabbatical for our staff, mandatory as well, which is so incredible and so appreciated.
And fairly rare.
I remember when I was in seminary years ago, in orientation, the speaker said, I want you to look around the room. There were probably 300 or 400 students just getting started in seminary. This person said to us, look around the room. By the time you graduate, half of you all will no longer be in the ministry. Fast forward another 10 years, another half of you will be out. So in 10 years, you've had 75% attrition rate.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Of course, having served in youth ministry all that time, the average career length of a youth minister was 5 years forever. Where they stayed somewhere was about 18 months. And, ministry is hard, but yet it's also, Gerry, you were a police officer. That's hard. It's not the only thing it's hard, but there's a lot of stuff out there.
There's a lot of things that are obviously involved in any career path that you choose. You feel a special calling in the church because you feel that God has called you to do this, but you still have to live and exist in the world that the congregation that you serve. It can be very tough, and sometimes it's a feeling of failure. And unless you have good people around you, unless you have accountability groups, it can be tough to stay in the ministry. And still people, as Brian said, are leaving like nobody's business. And so but the church is a mirror of society. A lot of things, as he said, the Great Resignation is occurring across different career spectrums for every field. And so the church is not immune to that. But Northside is a unique place, a very good place. Not that we don't have issues and problems, but it's a very good place. We, for the first time since I've been here, Daphne's been here longer. She's been here 19 years. I've been 11. This is the first time I can remember us being fully staffed to where we have everything fully staffed. For a long time, Northside's mantra was, it was a church that operated with less staff than anybody else and did amazing stuff. And so it's wonderful to have a full staff of people, very good people who are dedicated and love doing what they do.
Amen.
Yeah, that's
Amen.
true.
I agree totally.
One of the things I've heard with moving to this model, and a lot of it's just because people don't know, so they ask questions that come to their mind, right, is we're so used to a pastor or a lead person setting the vision and setting the direction on which the course of the church is going to go, correct? The course of the church should just be go where Christ leads us, but we feel like that's important for us to, I don't know, what is that, a control thing or something maybe? So I know here in this this document, it talks about vision, and I that goes along with the board of lay elders, but how does that work? How does setting the vision for Northside and the direction of the church go, in this model?
That is very much a working together, the three pastors, the staff, and the board of lay elders working closely together and being totally transparent and having all the necessary conversations to discern together. God doesn't just speak to one person.
Yeah.
He speaks. Yeah. He speaks, I think, the best to a group, with everyone discerning together. And you got to learn how to discern. That's a process in itself. But, everyone being focused on, together, what's God calling us to do? It's not just one person.
Which is dangerous, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
much more healthy
and it's not theologically accurate.
Yeah, that's true.
If you think about, we all are indwelled by the Holy Spirit. We're all priests unto God. So seeing this is that we have this collective responsibility to, as a body, discern the direction of the church. Not only seems more healthy, but it creates greater ownership.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Brian, how do you think the church as the large body, how did they get into this one person leading us model? Was it just kind of the Pied Piper thing, or was it the professionalism of it all?
Well, I think that may be some of it. I think that there has been a tendency to create too much of a separation between clergy and laity.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the ones in the ministry. We're the ones, No, we're all in the ministry.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, you're in the ministry. We just have different functions and roles to play in the ministry.
Yeah.
But to this professionalism, you got seminary training and background. After a while, if we're not careful, can unintentionally communicate, well, you guys are really the ones responsible for this, and we get to critique it, either like it or hate it.
Which is so dangerous.
Oh, man.
To me, it almost feels like a holdover from the Old Testament, where you had the high priest, where you had to go and bring your offering to the high priest, and then he would take it back into the holy of holies place to actually.
Yeah, he was the only one that could go there.
And it's like, to me, it just kind of feels like a holdover from that. Like, the preacher is the only one that's allowed to talk to God, and we just have to put all of our petitions in through him.
Our high priest is Jesus, and we're all
that's right.
struggling to
follow him. The risk in that, though, to be honest, is it does require the entirety of the body to be engaged in their own spiritual journey and transformation, so they have something out of which to do the discernment.
That's right.
Which is why we're talking so much about formational kinds of things around here, because everything flows from that. Everything.
I'm laughing because my next question is this right here. So, Brian, listening to your last few sermons, it appears you're talking a lot about spiritual formation to us.
Absolutely.
You think?
Yeah.
You think that might be intentional?
So you turned that corner for me. I didn't have to do it.
Absolutely.
So continue. Keep what tell us a little bit more about.
That's not something that I've brought. It was already operative here.
Yes.
But I think there's a desire to be more intentional about it. It's been something that's been very much a part of my journey in the last decade or so. And I'm just grateful to be a part of the process of helping believers live into their identity in Christ.
Yeah.
And the more they can see that and own that, the healthier the church will be, the more Christ-centered it will be, and it'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else? I mean, we've been studying, in case people who are listening don't know, the staff have been studying a book on spiritual formation, and now we're jumping over into another one. And it's been really good. And, people all the time say, well, I wish we could go through confirmation for adults or something, but that is confirmation for adults when you start looking at your own spiritual formation. So, and the spiritual formation of a congregation.
Absolutely.
So that is definitely that. So basically, I can contact and reach out to any pastor, and they can help me, right? I don't have to hit 2 for, get how to turn on the air or to make it cooler in my Sunday school.
Yeah, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, I don't want to help you with that. Yeah, but that's. If you need the temperature adjusted, you can call Gerry.
So in a lot of ways, here at Northside, I mean, we've had titles and things like that, but in a lot of ways, the staff, I mean, the leaders of the church, the pastors, we've all kind of operated loosely with that mantra. I think that's just our heart as a general rule, is if you ask us, we're going to try to help you no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And if we don't know the answer, we know who to contact.
Yeah. And that's good.
So absolutely, you can reach out. And if anybody has any questions, additional questions about this roles-based pastoral leadership team, we would absolutely love to have those conversations, because we want to be absolutely transparent, and we want, the church family to understand how we're operating and what our structure is, because, they need to know. They need to have that understanding. As best that they can and as much as they want to.
Yeah.
We're certainly not trying to keep anything a secret.
Yeah.
We would love questions.
Well, and because of the renovations, we're all worshiping down in Hope Hall. Our normal times, 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. And our kind of 9 o'clock leaders are down there doing the 9 o'clock service. The 11 o'clock leaders are down there doing it, and Sunday schools have shifted around. But we talked in staff meeting here after that first Sunday of doing that, of just how well that went. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Northside, for being so flexible
and thank you
and working
also
with
to
us.
our staff who have spent, nobody can imagine the number of conversations and all of the time spent before last Sunday trying to anticipate, and plan for worshiping in the same space, 2 different times on Sunday morning. And so, the staff has done an incredible job of just trying to plan for that.
We may have taken a couple of years off of Miranda's life, moving the children around and stuff.
Yeah.
But she's done a great.
Awesome
she and her
job.
team have done a great job.
Everybody's done a great job.
Yeah.
And we learned some things Sunday that we were already tweaking to
Yeah.
make it better for next week.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We listen to all of those things, and we do try to
all those helpful suggestions and comments, and
we do try.
Yeah.
We are also getting very close to Lent, which is a very important time in the life of the church, and so are we going to continue with the spiritual formation type of things going on with Lent, or is there going to be a Lenten series, or kind of where are we going in the future here?
We're going to be, the theme is called Giving Up. Often you hear people say things they're giving up for the Lenten season, like Coca-Cola or chocolate or something.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go for things that are more substantive and things that hopefully you're not just giving up for a short period of time, but you're going to be releasing them forever.
Yeah.
Because they're inconsistent with being a follower of Christ. So that kickoff of that starts on Ash Wednesday, and then on each of the Sundays through Lent leading up to Palm Sunday, I'll be covering a different area based on the life of Peter of something that needs to be given up.
Oh, wow.
And to supplement that, there'll be a take-home guide for people to give them some things to ponder Monday through Saturday, reflecting back to what they heard on Sunday, that hopefully will enable them to explore at a greater personal level that particular issue that needs to be given up. So I think it's going to be a good probing season.
Yeah, because I feel sometimes a lot of Christians that grew up with the tradition of Ash Wednesday and Lent almost looked at it as the second first of the year, and kind of more or less use those things as resolutions to, get off Diet Coke or whatever, and just kind of felt like that kind of got cheapened somehow. So. Mm-hmm. So we will have an Ash Wednesday service in Hope Hall.
Yes.
That's traditionally been in the sanctuaries, but we will have that service in Hope Hall. And that means there'll be no Bible studies and things that night.
That's correct. And the service is going to be a little different than in the past.
Okay.
But we're hoping it will be meaningful. In fact, Patrick and I had spent some time talking about some logistical things today. We think it will make it good.
And we'll probably will be in Hope Hall through Easter for sure.
Okay.
And so, we will continue to count on the congregation to keep helping us out.
Yeah. I don't know, those workers seem pretty determined.
They are. They've done a lot of work in a very short period of time, and a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so through Easter is what we're planning for, and we'll see what happens from there. Well, good. Is there anything else today that we've got y'all in here? I feel like we need to take advantage of every moment. So, but is there anything else that y'all feel like you'd like to share on the roles based or the spiritual formation or just the where we are as a church right now?
I would just continue to encourage people to give to the Light in the Future campaign. We're about 53% of the way through that where people have given, and we would just encourage people to continue to give, continue to get engaged.
Yeah, that's great.
I think I would want to say that in this good season we're in, that needs to be not taken lightly. That the sense of oneness and moving in the same direction, we have to really be vigilant to protect that, because it can slip without even realizing it. It can slip and you can get into some unhealthy things.
Yeah, that's such a good word, Brian. I am as excited or more excited right now than I have been in all the years that I have been here with the health of our staff and the health of our church. But Brian, you are so right. We don't ever need to take that for granted. It takes all of us, every single one of us, being intentional to be seeking every single day the face of Jesus Christ and constantly calling upon the Holy Spirit to guide us and convict us and to change us, to make us, more and more like Jesus. May we never take anything for granted.
Yeah. And that's a good word, I think, too, especially because I heard this morning coming into the church, listening to a local talk show, just because I like to listen to local stuff sometimes. And someone said, everyone on the other political side of me is an enemy. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty strong. Holy cow. This is going to be an election year that, we're going into an election year, and it's already started and it's deep, and that can rear its head up in churches often. And, there's just a whole lot of unknowns. Every tomorrow has an unknown, right?
That's because for the church, it is a reminder that we are servants in a kingdom not of this world.
Exactly.
A kingdom that cannot be shaken, at least in terms of an eternal perspective. But keeping our eyes on God's kingdom, that's our primary focus of commitment, will help us navigate all the lesser kingdoms that are out there.
And I think that's a great way to end this time today is with that word. So thank you all three for all that you do for us here at Northside and for getting in here today and helping us learn about our pastoral leadership team and your roles and how all of this is working with our lay elders and our servant directors. So thank y'all for dropping by.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun.
That was.
It was good to have them all here and learn kind of what everybody's role is and kind of how they work together and stuff. So that's good. So yeah, if you have any questions, definitely give a shout out to any of them. That would be great. I'm sure they would love to, if you had any follow-up questions about, something that they mentioned or didn't, you were wondering about, just hit them up.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you. So I am looking forward to Brian's series on Peter.
Yes. Giving up.
Lent.
Yeah. When I made I was working on the graphic for the sermon slide, and I was just kind of making the season of Lent.
Yeah.
But I put giving up the season of Lent, and it just made me laugh because it was like we're giving up the season of Lent.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all about that.
Yeah. But
I always thought that was so that'll be good.
I think it's gonna be an interesting sermon series.
Yeah, good visit with them, and maybe we can get them to do that again somewhere down the road, and kind of keep checking in. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Lent is close.
It is.
You know how I know?
How do you know?
The fish sandwiches are showing up at all the fast food restaurants. They've got signs. Everyone's got signs out now about fish. Get your fish sandwich here.
I've never been big on fast food fish sandwiches.
Yeah, it's usually minced cod or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Some people love them.
But that's how you know Lent is near. All the fish sandwiches start showing up again.
Yeah. Jesus multiplies the fish.
And the buns, and puts a fish between the buns.
Yeah.
And that's the. So I've been seeing a lot of signs. Everybody's like, fish sandwiches are back. I
guess
like
fish sandwiches are very biblical, right?
They're very Lenty. They're very Lenty because there is red meat and Lent aren't supposed to go together. There's all kinds of little things, Catholics especially. So that's when the fish sandwiches start showing up again.
You know how I know Lent is close?
How's that?
Because tomorrow is Ash Wednesday.
Oh man,
tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. And we're going to have our Ash Wednesday service at 6:30 in Hope Hall.
Yeah, it won't be in the sanctuary. Don't go in the sanctuary.
Don't go in the sanctuary. We're not quite ready yet. So.
Yes.
And Annette will be real upset because the painters are going to be here. Well, starting next week. So if we mess anything up right now, she's going to be real upset.
Don't go in the sanctuary. But yeah, it'll be good in Hope Hall. That'll be good.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We're also not going to have any Bible studies or anything.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it'll just be the service. We'll still have dinner, but it'll be in the gym, and then we'll have the Ash Wednesday services at 6:30, and then we'll be done for the evening.
Okay, good. So. I always like to, go somewhere out with my cross on my head.
Yeah.
Go to Kroger or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
It kind of started out because I went one time. I had to go.
Yeah.
And didn't think about it, and kind of started getting, what is it? What's that dude got on his face? Yeah. And then it was like, oh, wait. All right, let's do this.
Yeah. So. It can kind of lead to some good conversation.
It really can.
People ask about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. What else do we have coming up? This week is also our week to serve at RIFA.
Yeah,
at the RIFA Soup Kitchen.
Yeah.
So you can sign up for that still, I think. There's two different times that you can serve up or sign up for. There's an 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. time slot, which is the prepping of the food and all that. And then there's a 10:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m., which is the serving the food and the cleanup.
Yeah.
So,
or just show up. I mean,
or you can just
show
show
up.
up.
Use the help this week. So
I don't think they'll turn you away.
No, they won't.
Let's see, what else do we have coming up? Grief Share is going to start on February 25th. A new class of that.
Yeah, good.
That'll be from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. on Sundays.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about that, or you want to sign up, you'll need to contact Diane Rose. And then we've got next Tuesday? Or my math is all off. What day is it again?
Yeah.
2 weeks. Yako with the Vine is having Conversation Tuesday.
It's the last Tuesday of the month.
Last Tuesday of the month. It's the February 27th.
Yeah.
That is correct. Whatever this is. My brain is all over the place today. But that will be from 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. And he's needing some volunteers to help out with that. You don't need to speak Spanish or anything like that. You just need to be there to help out.
I've done that. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I was asking them places to eat out, like where they like to eat out and stuff like that was one of our conversation pieces. So I got to find out some really good places to eat that I hadn't been to, or
nice,
realize that, other people like this, and they were suggesting what foods to get there. And so I've been eating good since the last time I done it.
Nice. So if you want all the hot restaurant tips,
there you go. Hopefully you'll get that question.
Yeah.
It's
that'll
fun.
be good.
It's good.
So
And we're all this month collecting hygiene kits.
Yeah, tell us all about that, Glenn.
Yeah, this is our first quarter mission focus for this year. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect combs, Band-Aids, washcloths, toothbrushes, toothpaste of any size. It can be the little ones or the big ones. Bar soaps.
Bar soaps.
Is that, you get those at the bar?
Yes.
So any size of those.
I'm a fan of the gold dial soap.
The gold dial.
Yeah.
White dial's good too. Quart size Ziploc bags, snack size Ziploc bags, and gallon size Ziploc bags. And what we do is we take all of these items and put them together in those bags. And then we are going to give them out to some of our local nonprofits that are have kind of requested needing them. And then some will go on our mission trips that we have planned for the rest of this year. Now, we're bringing back a contest, though. The youth and children versus the adults.
Yeah.
Now, adults, last time we did something like this, y'all got beat up on pretty good. So I think it's time y'all make a comeback and show these kids, how it was back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So items can be dropped off all this month in the mission bins. Now, because of our configuration with the renovations, the big mission bin will be still kind of in its normal spot. But there will be there's one small one with adults on it and one small one with youth and children on it. And they'll be moving around the Hope Hall lobby area and in and out of that. So they'll be there kind of in the same zones, but we'll have to kind of put them out of the way because a lot of people are down there. So look for the bins. If not, bring them up to the big one. You can bring them by the office.
Or you can drop them off at the church office.
But we really want to get a bunch. I would love to put together over 1,000 hygiene kits if we can. And what's going to happen is real soon we're going to pick a date. The outreach team is going to pick a date, and we're all going to come together. Anybody that wants to come together and put the hygiene kits together, kind of in a day of mission fellowship.
That's cool.
So yeah, that'll be fun. So bring those hygiene kits and come on, adults. I know more adults listen to this than kids. I don't know. We do have several youth though. So
we do,
but and youth and kids, y'all have got this. But I'm just trying to encourage the adults. So I'm tired of listening to them lose and whine about it. So. So let's get out there and bring some stuff. It's all about the hygiene.
It's all about the hygiene.
So,
well, Glenn, thanks for podcasting with me. Thanks to all of you out there in the world for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast. Go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.